Roxo Media House.
You got him leaving and going to the NBA. Hey, there's 35 scouts here tonight, and it's not a great draft after the top three. How do you not love a nice?
To the basket. Miles with
You are in the State of the Frogs with head coach Jamie Dixon. Brought to you by Railhead Smokehouse, Hub International, Dave's Hot Chicken, by Texas Health Resources, the Flying Tea Club, and by Cadillac. Now with the head coach, here is the voice of the Frogs, Brian Estridge.
Welcome into State of the Frogs for this week. We get to break down a big win for TCU over Oklahoma State, tough matchup with Kansas, and preview the game coming up Saturday with Texas Tech. JaKobe Coles is going to stop by. We got our one-play breakdown with Bingo Merriex. But first, we get to welcome to the show the associate head coach, Tony Benford's with us right now.
Thanks.
Coach, how you doing, man?
Thanks. Glad to be here.
We're fortunate to have you. I want to dive into a couple of things. Let's start with Oklahoma State. 100-75, shoots 68% from the floor. Coach Dixon pointed out that's the third best in school history. The previous two he was a part of.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Let the players know that, too.
Right, I'm sure. But that was one of those games. You get Mike back, and everybody was playing with confidence.
Yeah, no doubt, Brian. I thought with Mike coming back, and Mike gives our team offensive confidence,
Yes.
you know, and then also he's solid defensively. And then Eddie was really good in that game.
Yeah.
We just did we wanted to apply a lot of ball pressure to those guys. They had to take away their shooters. They got some guys that can make shots, and we did a good job with ball pressure. Our rotation was good, and we did a great job on Boone. I thought Eddie was very physical, setting the tone on Boone and Cisse and those bigs, and we got him in foul trouble early. But it was a great execution game for us. We had 28 assists.
Yeah.
And I thought it was one of our better offensive games.
You know, when people say, how do you shoot 68% from the field? And the big thing was you didn't rely on the three. You got nice, open, easy baskets.
No doubt. I think we had 52 points in the paint,
Yeah.
to their 28.
Yeah.
And so that's what we talked about. We wanted to play inside, outside. I think we were pretty good in transition. I think, 23 points in
Right.
our fast break in transition. And we just wanted to attack the paint, and we did a really good job of that, putting pressure on them in the lane.
I thought for sure coming back, Mike Miles might be on a pitch count. He wasn't. He ended up going 35 minutes, scored 15 points, and looked like the Mike of old.
Yeah, he played well. We probably played him extended too many minutes there, but I thought he was good. He was in the flow. He let the game kind of come to him offensively. Didn't try to force anything, and I thought he had a really, really good floor game and shot the ball pretty well. And I thought defensively he was solid. He's one of the reasons our defense was good. With our ball pressure, he did a great job. Getting to the guys, and a great help side defender. So we're just really extremely happy to have him back.
The interesting thing was it felt like the spacing was better when Mike was there. Am I right about that?
There's no doubt. I mean, because what happens, he draws so much attention. And he can get in that lane, and they gotta account for him. Especially when we're coming off ball screens. So he's gonna command too. A lot of times they're gonna trap or drop coverage, whatever. So and he does a good job of getting off the basketball when he gets in the lane. So I think we're gonna see a lot of that moving forward, where he's just got to make the right play at the right time.
Back to that spacing issue, one of the guys who seems to recognize that better than anyone, almost like a coach on the floor, and we've talked about it before, is Damian Baugh. I noticed, though, when Mike out there, he doesn't have to do as much directing of traffic. Guys tend to end up in the right spot.
There's no doubt. It takes pressure off of Damo and Mike's there, because he's got another guy that can handle the ball, and he can play off the ball some, and Mike can play off the ball, and that really helps those guys, and it helps our big guys too. We work on when those guys get penetration, those guys got to do our big guys got to do a great job of relocating, getting into the open spots. So they really play off one another well, and we got to continue to do that moving forward.
Damian Baugh's a pro, Coach. I think he can play at the next level. His game gets better and better.
There's no doubt. Damon's got he's got great size. First of all, he's got great IQ. He's got great athleticism, and his ability to make shots is getting better. But he can get in that lane, and I think when he does a great job of making a pass first, I think that really helps him when he's getting everybody involved, and then he's able to create for himself. He's got to continue to do that, and then he's a really good defender.
Yeah.
He's one of the best defenders in our league at the guard position.
Yeah, he anticipates balls real well, gets his hands on a lot of them. He's led the Horned Frogs in assists now, I think 11 straight, 15 of the last 16 games, something like that. That was 100-75. TCU knocks off Oklahoma State, and then turn their attention to Monday night. Quick turn. You go from Saturday to Monday night. For Big Monday here, huge crowd at Schollmeyer's, a great atmosphere.
Yeah, no doubt. We knew that KU's coming in, they played well. They won 4 in a row, and obviously the last game that we played, we played really well at their place, and we knew they were going to come in with a chip on the shoulder, so to speak. And we just felt like we had to go out and do a great job defensively on Wilson, who had 30 on us at their place, and try to contain Grady Dick. those two guys. Both of those guys are NBA guys, and we felt like we needed to do a good job, and we did not do a great job with Grady.
Yeah,
Grady kind of got away from us early. I think he had 10 points early. We did a great job on Wilson, and I just felt like offensively we just didn't have a great flow in that KU game. I mean, I thought that we got in lane at times. We was probably looking for reps to make calls. We tried to drive the ball several times through crowds, and we just didn't get off of it. Coaches always preaching play off 2 feet, get the logo penetration. We're talking about get to the logo, guys help get off of it, get the ball to your teammates, and we just didn't do a good job of that. And we didn't do a good job on the glass. I mean, they out rebounded us. I think we were minus six in that game, so we did not do a good job on the glass. But I thought defensively we were solid, but we just didn't finish those solid defensive possessions with rebounds. So where we can get out, we rebound the ball, we can get out in transition. As you know, that's where we get easy baskets.
There were a couple of unlucky bounces. I mean, just one of those where you just go, man, what's going on tonight? Where you had 3 guys around the ball, and all of a sudden one Jayhawk ends up with it.
Well, Brian, I give Kansas credit. I mean, they played hard. They came in there with a lot of urgency, and they were desperate. And I thought they beat us to the 50-50 balls. We talked about it with our team. Coach, we're going to facts over feelings. We talk about. We thought they had they were first to the floor, 50-50. They were looking to take charges, and they were just more active than we were. I think for 40 minutes, for whatever reason, we weren't as active as we needed to be.
Yet if I would have told you beforehand that you only had 7 turnovers and you held KU to 39% shooting, you'd say I'd take it.
No doubt, and then we held 36% in the second half, and they held limited to 3, which they come in averaging 7-8 3-pointers a game, and we would have taken that. I mean, so I just thought our offensive flow, and we talked about it as a staff. Matter of fact, I talked to Coach about it before I came in. We didn't do a great job getting moving the basketball. We talking about getting ball reversals, first side, second side, getting quick swings, getting post duck ins, paint touches, but then getting off of it with the Oklahoma State game. Same action. We're moving the ball, but we're getting in the lane and we're making the simple plays, and we didn't do that against KU.
Yeah, and it's interesting because Kansas doesn't have a true big man. KJ Adams plays bigger than he is, but they don't have a true big man, yet your bigs just couldn't get in a flow offensively.
No, what they did, I tell you what they did. Kansas didn't switch as much this game. At their place, they switched almost every exchange, all our exchanges, the ball screens, and they just kind of what we call a drop or show with their big, and they didn't get in rotation as much. We had them in rotation at their place a lot, but they did not get in a lot of rotations, and where we could kind of really take advantage of the mismatches this time. But give Kansas credit. They're great, obviously a great coach Self, great team, and hopefully we'll see them down the road.
Let's hope so. JaKobe Coles is coming up a little bit later on. I do want to touch on him. Played, 16, nearly 17 minutes, had 12 points. I thought he was efficient offensively.
Well, JaKobe's going to be, he's a good player now, but he's going to be really good. And I've known JaKobe since he was a freshman. I was the head coach of North Texas back then when he was at Den Guyer. I watched him play. I remember when he moved in, they said, hey, there's a kid over there who just moved in from Nebraska. He's going to be a really good player, you know. Great family. His dad, Jerome, and mom, Don, and they're great people. And he's going to be solid. We're glad to have him in our program. We recruited him. He ended up going to Butler and transferring back. But he's gotten better. You look at his improvement of our players, he's probably our most improved player. And he's got a great IQ. He's versatile, score inside, outside, and he's gotten better defensively. And he's changed his body. Coach Christopher, our strength coach, Gary Christopher's done a great job with him in the weight room. And I think he's going to finishing this year out, we feel like we can go on a run with him in there, and he does a solid job because he's a guy that, we know late that we can put in. He played the 5 or the 4, and he's going to make good decisions and make shots for us.
You mentioned his dad, Jerome, who played at Norfolk State, who played in the CBA for a while. Great story about him, and I remember this. He got called up by the Charlotte Hornets. The Hornets wanted him to come up, but his CBA team was about to play for a championship. And he elected not to leave his CBA team because he wanted to go to the championship.
Wow.
I thought, what, that's a good dude right there.
That's loyalty and right there. And that's so you can see JaKobe. I mean, he gets that, a lot of that from his dad. He's got, tremendous work ethic, and we feel like he's going to be a great player in our program moving forward.
You're a basketball historian. He played for the Omaha team in the CBA. What was their mascot?
Not the Hawk.
No, close. The Omaha Racers.
Racers, okay.
Yeah,
all right.
Racers of CBA. Hey, remember that shirt? I remember that logo. It was a good one. All right, we got more with Coach Tony Benford, a preview of TCU and Texas Tech coming up on Saturday. We'll get to that a little bit later on in the show when State of the Frogs continues after this timeout.
Say hello to the water of tomorrow. Richard's Rainwater. Richard's rainwater is 100% rain, refreshing, renewable, and the only ingredient we use in our water. Why rain? Because everyone deserves access to clean water, and rain is a 100% renewable resource available everywhere. Drink the rain. Save the planet. Shop now at richardsrainwater.com. Simply the best barbecue in Fort Worth. Dine in, catering, or drive-through. 2900 Montgomery, just off I-30. Remember, the best barbecue in Fort Worth is at Railhead Smokehouse.
For exclusive interviews and content on TCU recruits, subscribe now at frogstoday.com. Any sport, anytime. It's your source for all things TCU. Only on frogstoday.com.
Welcome back in here to the State of the Frogs with the head coach, Jamie Dixon. Coach Tony Benford's going to be by a little bit later on. Right now, though, it is time to talk to one of the players. Dive in a little bit deeper here, learn more about them. We get to do this every so often. We get to do it today with JaKobe Coles out of Denton, played at Geyer High School. Good to see you, man.
Yeah, good to see you.
Thanks for taking out the time. All right, we got to start because this is a fun history. Because you kind of been some places. I love this. You've been in Kentucky. You've been in Omaha. You moved here to Texas. Ended up going to Butler to start your career. It's been a fun life so far, hasn't it?
For sure. Yeah, it's definitely a journey. Definitely, all those places were, good times for me, and I appreciate it all. So it's good to see where I'm at now is, good. So
you come out of Denton Geyer, by the way, really good team at Geyer. Your buddy Jalen Wilson, we saw him obviously on Monday night as well. I mean, that was a good basketball team. You guys got a lot of attention too. That had to be good for the recruiting process.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, it's always good to come to a packed house and see a good game and play against one of the top teams in the country, and so hopefully the recruits like that.
Yeah, I think so, and they did it when he was at Geyer. So you come out of Geyer. And TCU was in your final group, right? You almost came here for your first year, didn't you?
Yeah, I almost came here, and it didn't work out like that, so I ended up going to Butler for my first year.
Yeah, not a bad place either, Hinkle Fieldhouse,
yeah, not
Indianapolis.
A bad place.
Yeah.
No, it's definitely a nice city and a basketball town, so it was a good experience, but just wasn't for me. So.
When you walked into Hinkle, did you immediately think of Hoosiers? I mean, because I do.
No, I'm gonna be honest, I've never seen Hoosiers.
Oh my gosh,
that's kind of the big deal.
That's a running joke. Yeah, you haven't seen it.
Never seen it. I need to watch it one day, but I never got to it. Though.
Yeah, right. But you knew the history of Hinkle Fieldhouse. Obviously,
for sure. I mean, they tell you when you get there, they tell you in recruitment. So I knew it was a big place to play at for sure.
Yeah.
So it was definitely nice too. I mean, a lot of players that I knew in high school came to play at Hinkle, and they loved the gym. So yeah, it's definitely like a spotlight type of gym for sure.
I bet so. Then the opportunity arose for you to come back home. Back to Fort Worth, back to TCU, who had originally recruited you, and you jumped right on that, didn't you?
Yeah, I mean, I knew Mike, and I knew the coaching staff already, and I thought that was it's closer to home, and in a place where I've been living at for a while, and just thought it was a good fit for me, and I think they needed a lot of help from the year before, and I just wanted to become part of this team and help them win, so that's why I made that decision.
You've done that too, by the way. You had a little bit of a slow start because of an injury, from what I remember.
Yeah.
Right? You got hurt that first year last year, and you had to kind of fight to get back in there, didn't you?
Yeah, I tore my meniscus actually New Year's Day of, I think, 2021, and I was recovering from it pretty much the whole summer. When I came here, I actually wasn't fully healthy when I got here, but I just worked hard and try to get my knee back healthy, and the season didn't go as planned for me, but I thought we had a great season as a team, so I wanted to stay and come back and keep working and get my body right and get everything right to be prepared for this this year's team. And
well, we're glad you're here, glad you stayed. By the way, a guy that you've benefited from a lot, and I'm going to give you credit for this, is Gary Christopher, the new strength and conditioning coach.
Yeah.
He's helped you a ton, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's helped me along the way for sure. I mean, he I just think his style of how he sets his lifts up and the way that I like to train was, just work together. And also my trainers in the summer, and I worked with a physical therapist all summer to get my knee back strong, and I credit that to him too. And it was a lot of people in my circle at that time that helped me out, and I thank them for sure.
I love your game, by the way, and the thing I love about it is you get shots up. And that's what it's about for me. I like scoring. And last night against Kansas, outcome was not what we wanted, obviously. But you played, 16 minutes or so. You scored 12 points. I mean, that's being efficient with the basketball.
Yeah, I mean, I just think it's been for my confidence from the summer. I mean, I knew once I had my first full summer working out and, just trying to get back to what I was good at. And and knowing myself and having the confidence to, be ready for next year. And I've played with great teams, so I was, prepared to play with good players and try to find my niche in that in the offense or on the team. And I just think I found it, and I think I'm confident in my role, and I'm always ready to play. So that was just the mindset I had this year.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, it's worked out. You've become the best three-point shooter on the team. I mean, you're deadly from over there. You had a big one last night. And then also you've been forced to play the 5 some this year. I think you've responded well. Are you comfortable there?
Yeah, I mean, I played the 5 pretty much, actually a lot more in high school. I was more of a small 5-man in high school. And the good thing I felt like coming to TCU is that Dixon allowed me to, expand my game, because I have always had the skills on the perimeter. And so, a 5 has always been my natural game. But, this year I was more on the 4 role. And, when guys got injured and guys had to, sit out because of sicknesses or whatever, I think I stepped up and tried to do the best that I could. And, I think there were some games that, I didn't do as best. But, I think that I'm adjusting very well just with different schemes on offense and learning how to be in different positions, and coach trusts me in that, so it just gives me confidence to do that.
Jacoby, give me some sense as to where this team is now mentally, now that you have Mike and Eddie back nearly at full strength again.
I think mentally we're good. I think we just got to realize what it takes to win, and it's definitely good to get all the guys back, because in the summer we had everybody, and we were very confident going into the year, and then we had a couple injuries, and then throughout the year we did. So I think we just got to recognize this moment that, we got everybody back. We're all healthy. Now let's figure out what we had, when we played against Kansas and against the teams early, and figure out what we were doing well and get back to that. So
yeah, can this group make a long run in the tournament?
Oh, no. I mean, I truly think this is a national championship team if we lock in on it. So.
Yeah. All right, got Tech coming up on Saturday. Early start in Lubbock, by the way, an 11 o'clock game. And don't look now, but Texas Tech's playing pretty good, aren't they?
Yeah, they are.
Yeah. It'll be a tough challenge for the Frogs coming up on Saturday. You just got to get back out there, right?
Yeah, we just got to get back to it. I just think we got to go to the drawing board, watch some film, just, come together as a team and just play confident and play our game.
Yeah. Tell me what Jacoby likes to do outside of basketball. You got any hobbies, man?
Yeah, I mean, I like to play video games.
Yeah.
Me and my friends. A lot of people I know in college basketball, they play games, so I get on the game.
What now? Is there a game of choice?
Me personally, I play all the games for real. The 2Ks, the CODs, the UFCs, the story mode games.
Right.
I've always been kind of good at it, and I always like playing and with my friends and stuff like that. But also like hanging out with my friends and regular lifestyle stuff. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Music, all that. So
what are you in? What are you studying right now?
I'm in communications.
Communication. What do you want to do after basketball's over with, and hopefully basketball goes on for a long time?
I'm really not 100% positive what I want to do. I think I'm a very creative person. I think there's a lot of things I could do, and I definitely had aspirations younger just to be have my own self business. Yeah. And so hopefully that, with my pro career, I can, stack up some cheese and, maybe start my own business of mine. So,
I like that. Mm-hmm. Well, you got Emmanuel and Micah want to start a whole fashion
industry.
Yeah. Maybe you can get in on that.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I'll see. I have to see what I look like in those type of clothes.
There you go. All right, tell me this now. Well, I reckon. What are you into music-wise? Am I gonna know any of it?
Oh, I'm
you an old school guy?
I'm an old head, man.
All right, talk to me.
I mean, what era?
What's
your favorite era?
Like what's playing right now? I mean, here's what I'm into the Commodores. I love the Commodores. Is that too old for you?
I know the Commodores.
Yeah.
I know I would know some songs if I heard it. Okay. But that's a little bit
like Commodores, Al Green, Marvin Gaye. Those are my kind of guys.
Okay, so I'm a big Earth, Wind and Fire fan.
All right. EWF, we're good, man.
Yeah. Let me see, Isley Brothers.
Oh, love the Isley.
I like 90s R&B is probably like my favorite. Good. 80s and 90s.
You ever heard of Anita Baker? Do you know who that is?
Of course.
Oh, man. We'll share some lists.
I got you.
All right, man. JaKobe Coles joining us here. Coming up, Tony Benford's back with us. We'll preview the Frogs and Texas Tech at 11 o'clock on Saturday. State of the Frogs with Jamie Dixon continues after this timeout.
For exclusive interviews and content on TCU recruits, subscribe now at frogstoday.com. Any sport, anytime. It's your source for all things TCU. Only on frogstoday.com.
Simply the best barbecue in Fort Worth. Dine in, catering, or drive-through. 2900 Montgomery, just off I-30. Remember, the best barbecue in Fort Worth is at Railhead Smokehouse. Texas-based Happy Water offers the best-tasting, sugar-free kids drink ever made. Happy Water comes in 4 delicious flavors that you can find at local retailers and on Amazon. Each pouch contains 0 grams of sugar, 0 calories, and 0% juice. Head to happydrinks.com for more information and to purchase Happy Water. That's HAPI drinks.com. Live happy, be happy, drink happy.
State of the Frogs continues now. We came back to the Flying T Club studios to visit with our man Bingo. It's Bingo's Breakdown. And we got a lot we got to get into here because I want to talk about execution, if we could, Bingo. By the way, I brought the ball today. Yeah, you like that, man?
There you go. Yeah.
Let's talk about execution, though, because down the stretch in that Kansas game, that's one of the things that Jamie Dixon talked about. They cut it to 2. Then you had to settle for a Damian Baugh kind of off-balance 3. Didn't get what you want. But down the stretch, the Frogs went 4+ minutes without a field goal. And it had a lot to do with Kansas's defense and the fact that their priority was to take away Mike Miles, it felt like.
Right. A lot of times what we seen during the game, they was denying Mike Miles the ball. So if he wasn't getting the ball initially, like on the transition play, he was going to that corner, and Kansas was doing a great job denying the ball. The Frogs, we depend on Mike to do a lot of the scoring. So when the shot clock was running down, you have Damian Baugh with the ball, maybe Micah Peavy, or maybe even Chuck O'Bannon. And a lot of times trying to make a play was tough for them because Mike normally breaks the defense down and get those guys involved more.
Yeah, Damian Baugh can do that, but didn't necessarily happen in this one. The other guy who can shoot guys out of defenses that they're in is JaKobe Coles, and he wasn't out there at the time. All right, so let's get into what happened. So Mike Miles, you want it in his ball. When they deny, you want the ball in his hands. When they deny him, what do? Show me how this draws up.
Well, the thing about it, when they're denying Mike the ball, the game overall for both teams was kind of just stagnant.
Yes.
It was kind of just a slow game. Mm-hmm. So with TCU, they like to get out and run. We always talk about that in the transition. With Mike having the ball denied and Damian Baugh bringing the ball up, because TCU wasn't running, Kansas was making them a half-court team. So they was denying Mike in the corner over here in the post. Mm-hmm. Now, normally what TCU likes to do is they like to keep the interaction going. They'll keep the guys out here wide to cut to the basket, but Eddie Lampkin Jr. wasn't coming up because he was just kind of stagnant and standing because they want to get Mike the ball because, you know, they're trying to get him more involved.
Right.
But him being denied in the corner, everybody just kind of standing and watching. And then when the shot clock is running down, we seen DB over here take that kind of off balance, throw up 3 kind of, and that was a bad shot. Kansas, they was doing a great job of slowing the game down the stretch, those close 50-50 balls, they were getting those, and that's how they was able to pull the win out yesterday.
Yeah, that's what Tony Benford said, those 50-50 balls, anything that was loose on the floor, Kansas was there first. They were disappointed in that. All right, let's talk about Mike Miles. And if he is in the corner and he's denied, seems to me then you have 2 options. One, you got to figure out a way to free him up. 2, you say, okay, you're going to deny Mike on the overplay. We're going to take advantage of a mismatch here with our other 4. Let's start with freeing Mike up. Is there anything you can do when they're in that denied defense to get Mike the basketball?
Well, one thing you got to realize, too, also, this was Mike's second game back.
Right.
So in that, maybe he was kind of winded a little bit because if you see other games, a lot of times when they do deny Mike the ball, like we say, Eddie Lampkin Jr., he can come up. Maybe we'll swing the ball this way over here. Mike is good at backdooring, cutting to the basket because sometimes he wants to get denied. And I think down the stretch, maybe in postseason, we'll see once he gets his win back, okay, Mike is denied, okay, fine, cool, denied, but we'll run this interaction. We'll even have a back door. A lot of times, Emmanuel Miller or even Micah Peavy, they'll go to the back door to get that lob. But because they deny Mike so heavily, we want him to go back door. And DB is good at making that pass a lot of times. If you remember the pass he made to Micah Peavy from almost half court,
yes,
he threw the little bounce pass there and right into the 1-2 for the dunk.
Yeah.
And I think that is the main thing we have to do is get Mike to cut back door. And if he doesn't get the ball when he cuts back door, he just rotates out. DB dribbles the ball over and everybody is filling. So once everybody keeps filling the lane, the offense is flowing more. And when you have the defense moving and shifting, even if you do take that shot, say the shot that DB took yesterday, he misses the shot, we have the defense shifting, that's how we get the offensive rebounds. Yesterday, the defense was able to stay stationary, and so they was able to get those one shots and out and run out, and so TCU wasn't able to get as many offensive rebounds as they usually do.
Yeah, and one of the things that Kansas wasn't doing, you heard Tony Benford mention it, they weren't switching on the bigs. You know, they did that in the first game. They weren't switching on Eddie, so that didn't free him up with a mismatch that you could take advantage of. All right, Mike's in the corner. He's stationary. He's not using the baseline to his advantage.
Right.
You know, all right, and when that happens, you got 4-on-4. How do you take advantage of that? Just take Mike out of the play. Mike and his defender, what are we doing here?
You just take Mike out of the play, and like you said, we play 4-on-4 basketball. If you see a lot of times in practice, TCU runs a 4-man break because a lot of times in transition, a lot of teams do take your best player out. So these guys here have to run the high-low. As we talked about, they also have to do the exchange. You just play ball, you just taking Mike out of the play for an option. So if you're doing your transition, if Micah PV or if Emmanuel Miller is cutting back door, we're keeping this defense honest, because a lot of times when Eddie comes up, he is good at catching the ball at the elbow, getting to the basket, drawing the defense, and he's one of the best passers, big man passers in the country, and so he can pass the ball out, and those are better shots for, say, DB, for, say, Chuck O'Bannon, when you kick out, feet are already set to shoot that open shot, as opposed to shot clock running down, off the dribble, turning away from the basket, trying to shoot. Those are tough shots.
Yeah, out of rhythm like that. It feels to me, late in a game like that against Kansas doesn't really have a true post player. KJ Adams, 6'7", plays bigger than he is, but he's not a true post player. It seems to me that this ball needs to go through Eddie. And we talk about Eddie being a terrific passer, but I almost feel like Eddie at times has to be more aggressive offensively. At 6'11", he's hard to defend, isn't he?
In the first half, you've seen that Eddie got a lot more touches than he did in the second half. And TCU was doing a great job breaking down. Eddie was posting up on the block, so the teams was kind of coming, Kansas was kind of drawing in, so it was leaving that backside open, that weak side. So when TCU was doing a great job swinging the ball, Emmanuel Miller was able to get to that basket, got a couple of and-one baskets because the defense is shifting. I feel like TCU is at their best when they're shifting the defense, because everybody from the 1 through 5 is athletically can get to the basket and get to the rim. When the Kansas was able to be stationary in the second half and kind of power up with Eddie and get him off the block a little bit, I think he needs to work on that a little bit more, because when he goes ahead and be more aggressive, it's hard for teams to stop him at 6'11".
All right, bottom line is the Horned Frogs are going to see more of this down the stretch. Teams trying to take Mike Miles out of the mix. Somebody else has to step up.
Right.
That's the bottom line.
That's the bottom line, and I think for sure that when Mike is being denied, the team, TCU does not need to just depend on him. They need to just keep playing basketball, because a lot of times when Mike wasn't playing a lot, even at the first of the season, TCU was still running the transition. I think, like we said yesterday, the game was kind of stagnant on both sides of the floor. Kansas is used to that. They ended up closing the game out. It was a close game, but TCU has to do down the stretch is keep playing basketball when teams key in on Mike more like Kansas did yesterday.
Good deal, man. Appreciate it. Bingo's Breakdown, always telling the truth right here on State of the Frogs. Coming up, Tony Benford's back with us to preview TCU and Texas Tech. That happens next when State of the Frogs continues after this timeout.
The Flying T Club provides the everyday TCU fan and alum the ability to specifically support TCU student athletes. Flying T Club offers 3 levels of memberships. The Flying T Club is a nonprofit organization supporting the brand development of TCU student athletes through a series of unique event-based networking opportunities, which are exclusive to our members. These events provide a great social engagement tool for our members and student athletes alike. Follow them on Instagram at Flying T Club, or online at flyingtclub.com.
Texas-based Happy Water offers the best-tasting, sugar-free kids drink ever made. Happy Water comes in 4 delicious flavors that you can find at local retailers and on Amazon. Each pouch contains 0 grams of sugar, 0 calories, and 0% juice. Head to happydrinks.com for more information and to purchase Happy Water. That's HAPI drinks.com. Live happy. Be happy. Drink happy.
Continues right now. A little preview of TCU and Texas Tech coming up on Saturday. The Horned Frogs at 11 a.m. travel out to Lubbock. Haven't played them since last year, really. I mean, it was December 31 when the Horned Frogs met Texas Tech to open the Big 12 schedule, and a lot has changed for the Red Raiders. 15 wins on the year, got 4 in the Big 12. But their last 3 ball games, they play in their best basketball, are they not?
Yeah, there's no doubt, Brian. I watched their Iowa State game, and they were down 20 at one point.
Yeah.
Okay, and they came back, and I think this largest margin of victory had been down to come back in school history. But they came back in the last 2 minutes, forced, I think, went overtime, and they made plays. But they're healthy now.
Yeah.
I mean, they got Pop Isaac, the best, arguably one of the best freshmen in our league, is back and really shoot the 3-point shot. And then I tell you, Davon Harmon is the one that set the tone for him. I mean, he's really he was player of the week this week, and he's really a guy that can get downhill, can make shot plays with a lot of confidence. And then another kid, Jalen Tyson, another freshman from the area here in Dallas, and he had I think 27 at West Virginia the other night. But he's a guy that can shoot the 3, scored all 3 levels basically. And so then they got the big kid back, A-Mac, that had been sitting out, 6'10", really skilled, good post player, post threat, offensive rebounder. So they're playing well. They're making a push. They got a big game at Oklahoma tonight, I think.
Yeah, and you went through that whole thing. You didn't mention Kevin O'Banner, the leading scorer, who started there every game for him. The transfer from Oral Roberts. He's what, 14-6, 14-7.
Kevin O'Banner. He's a really good player. Can shoot it. Again, he shoots the 3. He can post. He's a good rebounder, and again, I think he scored over 2,000 points in his career. So they're playing right now as well as anybody in our league. They're with a lot of confidence, and that going down to Tech, that's a tough place to play in Lubbock. They get great support, and with the role they're on right now, that place is going to be packed on Saturday morning.
I tell you what woke me up was winning at West Virginia. We know how hard that is to do, and to go there and to win against the Mountaineers, who had been playing pretty good themselves. I mean, that's big.
Yeah, that was a big game. I mean, because West Virginia's obviously trying to get in the tournament, and they knew the urgency. They were playing with a lot of urgency, but Tech went in, and I saw some of the game. They did a great job defensively on those guys. They did a great, Stevenson had a great game for West Virginia, but overall, they did Texas Tech did a great job executing, but they did a good job on their West Virginia's bigs, and they're known for their defense. They're really guarding right now. I mean, Coach Adams really got them playing great defense, and offensively they can shoot the 3, and they can also score inside. So they're playing well.
You mentioned Harmon and his ability to penetrate. And the thing about him that impresses me, though, is his ability to set other guys up as well. He's got about 95 assists a year.
Yeah, he's good. I mean, that's the kind of knock on him in his career, that he wouldn't get everybody, other guys involved. But he's really improved. I mean, you go back to the Iowa State game. I mean, he just kind of took over the game in the second half. But then, you look at the game the other night. He was really doing a great job against West Virginia, setting up his guys, getting in the lane, getting the ball, playing off 2 feet, and getting the ball to Jalen Tyson and those guys. So he's playing really well with a lot of confidence. So they're, like I said, again, they're playing as well as anybody in our league, and it's going to be a tough challenge for us on Saturday.
Let's flash back to that first meeting between these two teams back on New Year's Eve here at Schollmeyer Arena. Got down 11 in that game. Got down 11 at the half, had to come storming back in the second. What did you learn from that? What's the takeaway?
Well, the thing we had to do is, we had to be solid defensively. I think they got away to hit about 4 or 5 threes, I think, in that first half on us, and we didn't do a great job locating the shooters, and I think we gave up some transition baskets early too. So we got to make sure we do a great job. I think in the second half we made the adjustment. We came out. I thought we really executed in the second half for that game and rebounded the ball. Got defense stopped and rebounded the ball. So that's going to be the same thing here. We got to have to do a great job of taking away the 3-point shot, and then do a good job of getting stops, and then rebounding the basketball. And then if we do that, we can get out in transition and play downhill.
This has got to be another one where you got to get those points inside too. That first meeting, I think you ended up outscoring them, doubling them up, 44-22.
There's no doubt. We know that. We know that our bread and butter's inside. We got to move the basketball. Again, coach is always preaching inside, outside, and then we got to share the basketball. That's going to be a huge key for us down there. But we cannot let Damon Harmon and Jalen Tyson and those guards, Banner and those guys get going. So we're going to have to do a great job for 40 minutes defensively.
Let's leave with this. Coach Dixon told us post-game radio after the Kansas game. He said, "Fellas, that was a quiet locker room." Give me an update on where you think this team is mindset-wise right now.
Well, we feel like we let our fans down, and we let ourselves down, because we knew, obviously, Kansas, they're a great team, and they're coming in, they're on a roll, and we had a tremendous environment. I want to thank our fans for coming out and supporting our guys, and they feel like they let everybody down, and we didn't play well, but I credit Kansas. They did a great job, but I think we got to, coach is going to give the guys a couple of days off. They got to get refocused, and a lot of basketball left. We told our guys, a lot of basketball left, and we got to make sure we do a great job job. We're going to learn from that game the other night. Okay, we got to make sure we get in and get in the gym, get treatment. I'm sorry, get treatment, get in the gym and get shots up. And some of them come in and watch tape, film, and see what we got. Where we can get better, because we're going to get better. I mean, we can't. We got to play together.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all going down the stretch. That's the one thing I thought we did towards the end of last year. We were a connected group, and we got to continue to. We can't point fingers. We got to stay together, guys, and we do those stay together, and we go out and execute on the offensive end and do a great job defensively rebounding the ball. We'll have success.
Well, I know that the Horned Frog faithful are still behind you, and they know how important these games are down the stretch. In fact, it was so important that our man Max Duggan showed up last night after the Davey O'Brien. How about that?
That's big time. Thanks, Max, for coming. Just thanks for the support. But I was there. I heard this loud noise. I'm like, what's going on? That was loud as the arena got last night.
Right.
I'm like, oh, I saw somebody running with a tuxedo down there. I'm like, man, but we appreciate everybody coming out supporting us. And there's a lot of basketball left to be played. And so we're going to continue to work hard. They got 2 days off. We'll practice Friday and Saturday, go down to Lubbock, and be ready to play at 11 a.m. on Saturday.
We'll be there with you, man.
Take care.
Thank you. Tony Benford joining us here. Always one of the best right here. Hey, that's going to do it for this week's edition of State of the Frogs. Back with you next week. We'll have highlights from Lubbock. Start to preview as well that matchup with Texas looming ahead for the Horned Frogs. We'll get into that next week. State of the Frogs, we'll be back with you. For Tony Benford, I'm Brian Estes. Thanks for joining us. Go Frogs.
Roxo Media House.